very much. At this point, we're going to bring back everybody. So I'd like all my presenters to come back onto camera, unmute yourselves. I want to say on behalf of the entire audience, on behalf of the entire NavyCon crew, behind the scenes, thanks to each of you for the hard work and the time taken to put your respective presentations together. You each shined, and I can safely say that I learned something quite a bit as I sat here today, and I'm not alone in that. But as we wrap up, we've got a few minutes left, and we're going to turn to some audience questions that we have lined up that we've pulled from Discord. And the first one, I thought this was a perfect way to tee things off. Who's the most politically astute character in Babylon 5, Star Wars, Star Trek? You pick your franchise, and I'll toss it up. The first one to speak up gets the lead out of the gate. Go ahead.
I'll go first. Probably Spock or Curzon Dax. You know, they saw an opportunity to bring in the Klingons into the Kid Accord system, and they took it. And as a result, they gave the Alpha Quadrant, 80 years of peace. I realize this is more from international relations, rather than politics per se. But yeah, I would say they were the most politically astute in Star Trek.
Well, I will switch universes, and considering I named my daughter after her, I'm going to go with Delenn from Babylon 5. Amazing ability to navigate intergalactic politics, or galactic politics, excuse me, and make things happen for a greater good.
I saw a lot of immediate nods there, so I think you hit a nerve there, Bree. Anybody else?
I think for me, probably Bail Organa from Star Wars, because he manages to put together a resistance movement completely sort of, very, very swiftly as well, while facing totalitarian oppression, keeps it together for 19 years, and it's not even broken by a planet's being destroyed. So, he's got some skill there. Maybe not at avoiding super lasers, but everything else he's pretty good at.
Could have worked on his agility a little bit there. Maybe, better timed his trip back to Alderaan. I don't know. Elsa or Harrison?
So I'd have to agree on Delenn, and I would also add, I think Jakar is one of the characters in Babylon 5 who progressed the most in his political astuteness and capacity to manage complex intergalactic and politics, and I think really, and as an advocate for the Narn and as an ambassador, came a long way in his capacity to build relationships and try to put some understanding as well. But definitely, I think Delenn, is impressive, and certainly puts Sheridan to shame in some cases.
Harrison, I see you've strategically maneuvered to have the last word on this question.
So I'm going to, of course, throw Sheev Palpatine into the realm as a person who was able to perfectly manipulate a wide variety of different groups representing different ideologies, different interests, different cultural backgrounds, and each with their own different strengths and blind spots, which is obviously not very easy to do.
Well, when you have Sith powers, it helps.
Yes, being able to read the mind of your opponents does help in politics. A skill that I wish some folks would learn and others would lose.
And, if I could only rock a hood as well as old Sheev could, I would be, going some places in life. Merle, if you could queue up the next question, please. Has anyone done work linking events during the time of episode composition with the future events that are represented, or explored biographies or interviews with writers or producers? And I'm presuming, yeah, go ahead, Harrison.
Presuming that I'm reading this question correctly, there's been a lot written about the influences on George Lucas, looking at the aftershock of Watergate and the sort of exposure of the political manipulation of the Nixon administration. And while I would say that Lucas's historical grasp of warfare may not be quite as astute as his grasp of visual effects and film production, he did cite specifically the American Revolution and Vietnam as two particular thematic sources for the style of warfare that he wanted to see, which was that large empire versus underdog with innovation.
Matt, I saw you had your hand up as well.
Yeah, just very briefly on that. Chris Kempshall, who's an academic, I think he's at Leeds, I'm not sure, has got a book coming out next year, I think, which goes into the politics of Star Wars, and I know he's really gets into like the interviews with kind of cast and with directing staff, so could be interesting on that.
Other Matt.
So first of all, those are all past events, not future events. So that's a party foul. Second, a good example of a writer and producer who has big influence on that would be Ron Moore, who, while he was never in the military, he was in ROTC in college. And you can kind of start to see, like, right when he comes on DS9, and, of course, how he ran Battlestar Galactica. You know, the big influence from that.
Yeah, outstanding. Let's cycle to the next question because we've only got a couple minutes left. If the Empire had beaten the rebellion, yeah, right, would they, Palpatine, have then created another enemy in order to maintain the enemy resource ideology? My brain's ability to like form actual words is gone now. Ideology momentum. There we go. Go ahead, Matt.
First of all, I disagree with the premise. Again, the rebellion is not the bad guy. The rich is not the enemy of the Galactic Empire. The rich core lords are. A bunch of guys running around in the Outer Rim does not pose a threat to Coruscant. Kuat, Corellia, Alderaan, you know, them trying to go their own way is what poses a threat. So if they kill the Alliance leadership, that's great. It doesn't solve the problem.
And this is going to be our last question. So if any of the panelists have any comments on this particular question. I don't know that they would need to create another enemy so much as just wait for another one to show up. I think in the expanded canon that we currently have, it's pretty clear that it's just a matter of time before some evil entity lurking out in the galaxy somewhere in the unknown regions crops up. And quite frankly, I think Palpatine's entire focus is on his own self-perpetuation, his perpetuation of his own power, and the rebels happen to be a direct threat to that, which is why they earned the Empire's ire. But you know, I don't know how much care they would really have to anybody else. Well, I think that's going to do it for us. I will go around the horn one last time if anybody has any parting words. And I want to thank everybody for watching. Bree, we'll start with you. Anything for the group, for the audience?
It was a pleasure to be here. This was a lot of fun to bring some loves together.
Thanks so much, Harrison.
I really appreciate you guys for giving me this opportunity. I appreciate the opportunity to watch all of your presentations. They were so fantastic. So thank you.
Matt Booker.
Hey, as always, this is always a blast. Thanks for having me. Live long and prosper.
Elsa.
Thanks to the whole NavyCon community. Happy and honored to be here and learned a lot from the conversation. So looking forward to continuing the discussion going forward. Take care, all. And
last word goes to Matthew.
Worth staying up until 02:30 for. And now I'm going to go on to Discord and answer more questions.
I want to thank all of you for watching, whether you're watching live or after the fact, and welcome to the NavyCon family. Thanks, and may the Force be with you.